UJ Summit is extremely important because it brings together more than 40 groups who have been working diligently under the umbrella of Roc Nation to make certain that the issues about which UJC is concerned are not only in-house, but taken in a broader perspective.
Often we live in a society where people of color are disproportionately targeted by a vicious system that refuses to acknowledge our fundamental humanity.
So when we talk about criminal justice reform, when we talk about police brutality, when we speak about inequality that has prevailed, we've got to be serious about linking these various groups.
This is why we deal with the fact of police brutality. It ain't that people of color hate the police. We hate bad police. We hate police who show up and don't know who the criminal is and who ain't the criminal, because we've been criminalized because of our race, because of our gender, because of our character, because of our community.
The panel I'm doing today is on the decriminalization of mental health. If you know anything about the new 988 number, which is the number you can call whenever somebody's dealing with a mental health issue. Previously, people would call 911 and you would have like police officers respond to people who are just dealing with, you know, cognitive issues, you know, emotional issues, and like a lot of times that doesn't end well.
You know, when I think about mental health, I think about the stories that we're not telling, the conversations we're not having, specifically around Black men. When I was 17 years old, I got shot multiple times standing on the corner of my block. And when I went to the hospital, they literally just processed me through. And the doctor, I will never forget this moment of him extracting the bullet from my leg so callously, and me sitting in that hospital bed and my dad and my mom coming in. And at that point, I was the third of their children who had been shot. And there was no offer of therapy. There was no, mental health options. And when I went back to the neighborhood, the only people I can talk to was other guys who had got shot like I got shot.
Oh, absolutely. Because, you know, when you realize that it's other people dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with, it makes you feel, you know, less crazy, you know, and I'm putting crazy in air quotes, but it does. It makes you feel like, okay, I'm not alone. This is just a regular issue that a lot of people deal with, and it helps you to, you know, find other ways to deal with it, because everybody deals with it in different ways. So when you open up that conversation, you get better, you get more tools and more resources.
Mental illness is not an equal opportunity problem. 2, mental illness is a spectrum, and so you can't speak to it as just one problem. There are a number of issues as it relates to mental illness. People sometimes suffer from depression, and there are some individuals with chronic mental illness. So you can't treat it all the same. And what we are seeing is the deinstitutional of mental health institutions in the state of New York, with no community-based organizations to address the issue of mental illness.
With Yo Gotti stepping in, using his platform to making or bringing some light on this situation, is going to help. I think change is most definitely going to come.
I think it's important to speak on things that you shouldn't look the other way from if you think it's not right. I think it's important to be a voice for the voiceless. You know, I think what Team Roc been doing in this situation is great. They help a lot of different causes, a lot of different situations, not just prisons. You know, I work closely with Roc Nation, so I get to see a lot of the things they work on, and they work on way more things than people could even imagine.
My sorrow became a strategy. So now I says, I'm getting up out of here, I'm going to fight, but I'm not only going to fight for my son, I'm going to fight for everyone. I don't want this to happen to another person out here.
We must keep hope alive no matter how dark it is, how dreary it is, or how bleak it is. If the water gets hot, we got to get hot with the water. The coffee bean wasn't changed by the water, it changed the water. The coffee bean was the coffee that changed the situation in which it finds ourselves. I like mine black, blackity black. And that's what we do when we deal with social justice. Peace.